guys, I'm Maylene Dovan, certified athletic therapist and founder of Rehab-U Movement and Performance Therapy. Welcome to our YouTube channel. This week we're going to talk about squeezing the shoulder blades. Stop telling your clients to squeeze the shoulder blade. I've already done this video on YouTube and it has been by far my most viewed video. Something like 16K views. Not that that's like viral or anything, but thank you guys for watching this video and liking this video so much. So I thought I would do a 2.0 version. So the idea and the intent behind squeezing the shoulder blades, and everywhere I go, I still hear it all the time. Hey guys, thanks for watching our videos, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I understand the idea and the intent. It's we want to create some sort of scapular stability. So if I have our supermodel, Pierre Luc, come in, we're telling people to squeeze the shoulder blades because we want to create that scapular stability, okay? But here's what happens when, bring your arms in front of you. If he excessively focuses on squeezing the shoulder blades, see how he winds up in his upper traps. Now, what that's going to do as he winds up in his upper traps because he's focusing on excessively squeezing the shoulder blades, that's going to create an anterior tilted scapula. So every problem you can think of with an anterior tilted scapula, impingement, all that kind of stuff could result from that. Otherwise, he's just not going to have optimal contribution from his lats, from his posterior deltoid. He's going to tend to pull with his biceps. He's going to use all those muscles that are already facilitated. The thing is that scapular stability, you can bring your arms down or your anterior deltoids are gonna hate me. The thing about scapular stability is that it's dynamic. It's not as simple as just a scap retraction. The scapulothoracic muscles, they work in coordination with where you're moving your upper limb to position the glenoid in the right position. So when he's got his arms facing forward because he's going to do, for example, some horizontal row, he needs that glenoid to be facing a little bit more forward. He can't be retracted. It's not going to put him in the right position, right? And that's why he's going to wind up pulling a little bit differently. The scapula is going to dynamically move as he pulls, right, to bring that glenoid more laterally as he finishes pulling, because as he finishes pulling, now the glenoid has to be facing laterally. So that's how scap stability expresses itself. It's much more dynamic than saying squeeze the shoulder blades. But I get that we want people to be in a good position to do their pulling or pushing movements. We want them to be in a stable position, right? There are just better ways to do it. So we're going to go into a couple of exercises that you can use to bring awareness to how you actually create that stability and how you actually make sure that your scapulae are properly positioned when you're doing your upper body pulling movements so that you can get optimal muscle recruitment, so that you avoid compensating with other muscles, and so that you avoid potential painful issues. All right, so before we go into our first exercise to work on creating better positioning, some of the cues we often hear to get the scapula in the right position are things like scapula in the back pocket or break the bar, right? So you can imagine that we're trying to do a subtle kind of retraction and depression of the scapula, not a squeeze the shoulder blades. And we're also needing to get the lats involved. That's why we say break the bar or squeeze the bar or create some external rotation torque. Now, a great way to do that can be to just use an elastic band to put your wrists inside as you're doing a bent over dumbbell row. So what that forces Pierre Luc to do is it forces him to keep his lats really active, and it forces him to keep that external rotation torque as he does his row. And so he maintains that great stable positioning all through the range of motion in his row. This is very different from if he was at the bottom and we said, squeeze your shoulder blades really hard, right? The other thing is, notice that, you can put them down for a second, notice that he's using, well, not a really heavy weight for him, but a pretty decent amount of weight. If he was trying to hold that scap retraction when he's at the bottom, that would be difficult to hold. Not only that, he wouldn't be in the right position. He needs the glenoid to face a little bit forward when he's in that bottom position. So we can't do that if we're pinning our scapulae back, right? If we're squeezing the shoulder blades. A second exercise that we can use to really correct those scap mechanics is a half kneeling face pull. Now remember I said that with excessive focus on squeeze the shoulder blades, people are shrugging the shoulders, right? And that's something we often see, for example, when we're having someone do a variation of a horizontal pulling exercise, is people will tend to shrug because the traps are facilitated, because we have easy access to those muscles. And so if on top of that we've told them to squeeze the shoulder blade, we may be exacerbating that. So a great way to kind of bring the focus elsewhere is to change the angle from which they pull. So if Pierre Luc now has to pull from a diagonal angle where the elastic band is attached higher, that's going to force him to pull down and back. So as he does his face pull, it's going to force him to keep that good positioning, and he's not going to be able to go into his traps. So we're just putting him into a position where he's just more likely to succeed at understanding what the proper positioning is and not dumping into his traps. So the key takeaway, guys, is that scapular stability that we're trying to create when we say squeeze your shoulder blades is much more complex than just scap retraction. And as a matter of fact, focusing on scap retraction can have you run into problems or can exacerbate ways that people are already pulling that are focused on anterior muscles, that are focused on muscles that people have easy access to, and not actually working the muscles that we want to be working on. Exercises that, like the ones we showed you, that bring the focus to that proper positioning, that change the angle, are really, really great to correct that, are better ways of understanding and feeling what scapular stability really is. And remember I said I also did another video that went viral, that had a lot of views on this channel. So if you enjoyed this video but you haven't seen that one, make sure you go see that one as well. And hopefully now stop telling your clients to squeeze the shoulder blades and start showing them the right way to position the scapula. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you next week.